Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jermaine. I think he's still listening. Clark Kent called in on Friday.
Who you with?
So, yeah. So, I am wearing an authentically black hoodie today. And on the back of it, it says that the cotton was produced by black farmers. So, for us, by us.
I gotta find that line, man. I like what it represents.
Yeah. So, Rhonda said we got a thank you letter for being such loyal customers.
We got about
So,
10 of them right away.
Yeah, so they might want to talk to me about an endorsement.
Sure,
I am an influencer.
let's make it happen. How was service yesterday, bro, Keith?
Service was good yesterday, and let me thank you for that. That's a great segue. Yesterday was American Baptist College Rally Day. We had folks up from American Baptist College in Nashville, one of my alma maters, and so it's a fundraising opportunity. I know that our state convention has committed to raising $30,000 for the college. I had an opportunity Saturday, to talk to President Keith Evans of the Wisconsin. I don't know if we're the general of the state, but anyway, he's one of our convention presidents here. And he's also a graduate of American Baptist College. There's several distinguished clergy here in the city that are alumni and graduates. Reverend Dr. Fred Carruthers, Pastor Trayvon. What is Trayvon?
Trayvon Sinclair.
Sinclair. He was there Saturday. Got a chance to see him. Steve McVicker down in Racine. Again, Keith Evans and Bishop Lawrence Kirby, my classmate. Got a chance to see Bishop Kirby. Had not seen Bishop Kirby in a while, so get a chance to see them. Also, when you look at some of the distinguished alumni of that school, the late Dr. Julius Scruggs, who was president of the National Baptist Convention, also Bernard Lafayette, who made his transition last Thursday, James Bevel, John Lewis was an alum of American Baptist College, Darius Butler, who's currently at Concord Fellowship, formerly of Tabernacle Community Baptist Church. So it's quite an extensive alumni group, and we've been preparing black preachers since the 30s. And so it's just, and again, I thank them for the opportunity that they availed me to be able to spend 1 year there. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, I don't know if I left a mark there, but whew.
It left a mark on you, didn't it?
It did in a lot of ways. It really did.
Yeah.
But like I joke, I said a lot of my classmates still don't know my first name was Keith, because it was like, here come pass. And because boy, oh boy, I was an 18-year-old, knew everything, talked crazy, the whole piece, So again, it was good to see. And so let me thank also Dr. McCroskey there at Pilgrim Rest. She was, I don't know, she worked at American Baptist. As a matter of fact, when she assumed the pastorate there at Pilgrim Rest Church, she was working at American Baptist College. And so I think the president, I didn't get a chance. I think I shook his hand, but I didn't get a chance to really introduce myself. So one of the brothers who, and that's the other thing, when we have Rally Day, you have different either former students or current students who come and preach at various churches. We had a minister yesterday who graduated in 2019. He was our Sunday morning homilist yesterday. And we were talking, and what did I ask him? There was a question I had asked him about the school, but anyway, so again, and you can go to their website. It was something that President Evans said to me. He said that, it's our only school. And what I mean by that in terms of college that is still affiliated with the National Baptist Convention and USA, and the importance of it. Now, when I was there, there was a partnership with the Southern Baptist Convention and the National Baptist Convention. And so they picked up half the budget. Each side picked up half the budget. Um, that changed. There was a parting of ways. And so now it's primarily Black folks who need to support that school. Let me say this, and this is it being a historical Black college. One of the things that happens is that there are people who benefited from going to HBCUs but won't send money to HBCUs. We really need to support, because again, these schools availed opportunities that may or may not have been available. And so we have an obligation. So I wrote a small check. I'm gonna write another check to American Baptist. But all these colleges there that prepare our leaders, Jesse Jackson is a graduate of HBCU, North Carolina A&T, go Aggies. And then his sons graduated from North Carolina A&T. So let me do that. Let me do this real quickly. Also, and any chance I get to brag on her, I will. But yesterday, my goddaughter, Kennedy Nunn, joined us for Children's Church. I asked her to read our lesson yesterday, because it's Women's History Month, and I wanted to do a couple of things. One, talk about the importance of women, but two, to talk about the presence of African women in the Bible. And so yesterday we talked about Hagar and Ishmael, and but she was on point. Anytime I asked a question, she could repeat back what she heard. The other kids, and Douglas and I were just talking about this. Folks, we need to value learning. We don't need to denigrate learning. We were talking about, some of us, our experiences. As much as I love Parkman, you had people there who would make you feel badly because you wanted to learn. That mentality has to change, right? And it's not necessarily formal education. There's all these different opportunities for us to learn. We get mad, and that's one thing. We always mad, and we get mad. They're erasing our history. Negro, you don't even know the history. So how do you know it's being erased? What are they erasing that you knew? So we have an obligation to learn, to know ourselves, to know our history. And I said that every Black History Month, I learn every day, but every Black History Month, I make it my point to learn something that I did not know about, specifically our people in this diaspora, of those of us who are in the Western Hemisphere. And so know your history, and here's the thing, you can Google it. You don't have to do what I had to do when I was in college. You have to go to the stacks and try to find the books and cross-reference. Is right there in your hands. Knowledge is power. Why do you think they're trying to under-resource educational institutions that serve Black and brown people? Because they can take advantage of our ignorance. So you need to know the game in order to play the game. Real talk. And I just and look, nobody's telling you have to go to Harvard, but you can pick up a book. And so learning becomes important. That needs to be our structure. I get frustrated when I see we'll put more investment in our sons playing football than we will in our sons getting books to learn, because you cannot play football for the rest of your life. At some point, you have to take the pads off. How do you then compete in the world? That's why I had such mad respect for Antonio Freeman and Antonio Freeman's mama, because as good as Antonio Freeman was in football and basketball, his mama said, yeah, boy, but it's the books. That's how he ended up at Virginia Tech, because they had such a strong engineering program. So there's nothing, and that's not being condescending. But, I hear people calling it, the white folks doing this. And then I ask, did you know this? No. Okay. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Preach, brother. God sent you. Keep preaching. Like I love me some Michelle A. I call her Michelle, and her love that she teaches us every day, as well as Jasmine Crockett, as well as Joy Reid. because I love all of them sisters. You know why? They educate us and they stand there for us. And you can't do nothing but, hey, I give them nothing but much love. I love them all, including you, brother.
All right, brother. I
But you keep
appreciate you.
talking what you're talking.
Yes, sir.
Because Lord sent you to do what you got to do.
All right, man. I appreciate that. Thank
All
you.
right.
All right. Awesome responsibility.
Yeah, that's deep when he said that the Lord sent you.
Oh, man.
He got a revelation.
LAWD.
Right. The Lord. LAWD.
Oh, Lord.
You ain't got no sense, man.
The Lord. Yeah. There's a lot. People ask how my weekend was. And, well, I know I spent about 10 hours at the Jesse Jackson funerals.
Oh my God,
it was
dude.
10 hours. It's 10 hours. Look,
Dude.
somebody posted, and let me, man, I'm in a silo. I'm in a silo. What I mean by that, I'm in a silo is, whoa, the racist comments.
Man.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Cause I don't do a lot where I'm going in my social media is really like limited, Facebook, and you got to put something out. But man, so let's talk about, and I was going to ask Michelle. I didn't know if she saw. I don't know if there was anybody there from the King family. Michelle can let me know if there was someone there from the King family. I know that there was no one from the King's family that spoke.
Right.
And someone had put in one of the social media posts that, it was the black church on full display. The funeral Friday was 5 hours and 15 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
The funeral Saturday, the private memorial service, was over 4 hours. And I was trying to contrast and not making a judgment one way or the other. When I look at state funerals, like let's say a former president died again, how they get it done in about an hour. Now, we believe because a life well lived should be celebrated, we go a little long. And doing X number of funerals, I don't care. People cannot stay within the time limit given, right? To the point that when Obama spoke for 18 minutes. How do I know that? Because me and my mom, I showed it to my mom Saturday. He spoke for 18 minutes. And one of the things he said was because Isaiah Thomas had gotten up, and then he said, if a pistol could get up and talk that long, I don't know how Isaiah felt about that because he is from Chicago, even though he was a Piston, he did diss the Bulls. So to be able, it got to the point where people would complain about other people taking such a long time and then get up and do it themselves. And I just don't know. Now, let me contrast Dr. King's funeral, which is a very different time, 1968. They did something that was just so powerful. And I also saw this done with, Bishop Blake's son? Is that Charles Blake II? The son that just passed. But what they did at Dr. King's funeral, he was the eulogist. And what they did was they played the last message he preached at Ebenezer.
Oh, wow.
So we hear his words,
voice,
right, which was so powerful.
Wow.
And then, this very simple wooden casket. And then they had him in this buckboard. Y'all got to be from the South, know what a buckboard is, but it's a wagon with a mule, right? Talking about the humility. And then they used that for the Poor People's March. There was a lot going on there because if you know the history, you knew that there was a lot there. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of the racist remarks. Jesse Jackson Jr. had said prior to the celebrations of life, don't bring your politics. Well, I don't know how you do that. And so it was who gonna out politic the next person getting up. I know that happens at funerals. And so then it becomes long. Now, Clay Evans' funeral was 4 hours. Aretha Franklin's funeral was 4 hours. Rosa Parks' funeral was 4 hours. And so I don't know. I mean, you begin to lose people because at the end of Friday's sermon, you could see where half the place had emptied.
Well, yeah.
And if you're the person, and I think the other thing is, and this is just throwing this out here for those of us who are participants in this, everybody should get their shine. But, you so dominate the time that if you have a eulogist at the end, he or she has to rush through their message because everybody else was so long. Let me give you some tips. Think of one story and then figure out, and you know what can help you do this? Go to AI and say, put together for me a 2-minute message. Yeah. It'll help you. Because, we go, and then we, not to mention, and depending on, don't be a important person in the church.
Oh, my God.
Now we have to establish protocol.
Yeah.
Rhonda pointed out to me that somebody was upset because Obama didn't acknowledge Jeremiah Wright.
Oh, my God.
Well, okay. But I said, you know what? He did the protocol. He acknowledged the elected officials, including the 2 other past presidents and vice president. He then went on to acknowledge the officiants and the pastor of that church. Okay, that's it. Because he would have been up there if you just acknowledging. I'm assuming, just by the number of people, there had to be 1,000 celebrities and dignitaries there. So who do you acknowledge? So the stuff. But what I went in, and so when Jesse Jackson Jr. had said, "Do not bring your politics," oh my God. So I'm watching. I just got back on X, right? So I'm watching the comments. They went after Obama. Lord, they went after Obama. And then they were showing pictures of Jesse Jackson and Donald Trump, right? Because I think Donald Trump had supported his Wall Street initiative when they were going in and they were trying to make Wall Street more responsive to Black people and brown people and poor people. But man, dude, I was just hearing it. I was alive when Obama was president. I was alive then. And people called him the divider in chief. Now I'm trying to think, what did Obama say explicitly that divided the country? The country was divided just because of how Obama looked. That was the divide. Okay? Because if anybody is a divider in chief, it's the current occupant of the White House right now. This dude plays everybody against everybody. So I was watching, and then got to keep it 100. Jesse Jackson Jr. is running for his old congressional seat, the 2nd congressional seat there in Illinois, in Chicago. That's going to be an interesting race. Mm-hmm. It's going to be an interesting race. Now, here's the other thing that I picked. If you watch Saturday, Jesse Jackson has brilliant children. There's no question how brilliant these his children are. Even the young lady that he had outside of his marriage, this young lady is so distinguished. It didn't sound like her mama was on point too. But she was so distinguished, and she's keeping his legacy alive, which kind of gets to, and I'm just only speaking to Black people now, we got some complicated family history. Now, I'm sure white people do too, but I can only speak for Black people when I say we have complicated family history, but that doesn't make us any less family. And so to hear her Saturday, there was a sister I knew very little about, Jacqueline II, who I think was one of her dad's primary caregivers at the end. But again, there was no question. Jonathan Jackson's eulogy was just on point, to the point that his brother had to say 3 times how good it was, right? There's a lot of dynamics, and I say this: death can bring out the best in us, and can also bring out the worst in us, right? Funerals, family funerals, we get together, and then you clearly hear somebody say, "Mama wouldn't want us fighting." Well, probably why Mama's in the grave right now is because of our fighting, right? Some of us have really put our mamas in the grave, up praying for us all night, worrying about us, what he's gonna get out there and do. So I observed the music, though. Thank God for the music. Right out, the music was man, the music was good. Everybody from Hezekiah Walker to Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, I didn't like that version that Jennifer did. The Change Gonna Come.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh,
didn't
that's
that
one of
version.
your signatures.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, you can't do that song like that.
But
man.
it's a tough one, man, because it's a tough one, and I think people try to put their own signature on it.
That's what she did.
But the thing that I love about Lettucey is just sing the song.
Yeah.
And you can do that, but we put so much of ourselves in it. And look, she's at home, she's in Chicago.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of pressure. And who did I miss? Was it Ken Burrell at the end of Saturday?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, when the family was leaving. Yeah. So 10 hours. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it. He certainly does. There's Jesse Jackson had an enormous imprint on American society. And complicated. People are, if perfection was a prerequisite for service, then no one would serve. And we're pretty good at going after people's human frailties as if that negates all the good that they've done. And he's done a lot of good. When Spectrum, when he first passed, I went and did a little quick interview. And I said that one of the things as a minister that I always appreciated was that how much Jesse Jackson loved Black preachers. I mean, from the most prominent and prolific to the poets of the poor, the humblest of the humble, he did. I know how, and I saw this behind the scenes, how the respect and reverence he had for my late pastor, Pastor Willie D. Wanzo. It was just and you go like, wow, what's up? So there was a lot to like. Jesse loved music. I brought in the album that I found of a concert they did in Kansas City, 1976, I think. They did this concert, and I seen it because he had this brother that was traveling with him when they did the rally, and this little brother could sing. But and then he had encouraged Bishop Hines at that rally to sing. I remember he yelled at me because the mic went out. He said, "Find him another mic." Like, dude, hey, first of all, this is my church. Don't be yelling at me. I'm a member here. But he loved music. So when he introduced Andre Crouch at the end of this record, Andre you could barely hear Andre from him yelling, screaming. That's how much he enjoyed the music. So he was a worshiper, which I always appreciate. And so there's a lot. And there's a lot to be written. Again, I would suggest that you get Abby Phillips' book, A Dream Deferred. And she does an extensive kind of review of the life of Jesse Louis Jackson. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
Good morning, family. I was in El Dorado, Arkansas on Friday and Saturday. That's 127 miles south of Little Rock on Highway 167. I did not see any of Reverend Jesse Jackson's service broadcasted on none of those stations down there. And in our day and time, that's ridiculous.
What do you mean?
That shows you how much power Trump has with these Republicans. That much hatred.
at all?
See,
You
I
said
don't-
there was no coverage at all on any of the news outlets. Nothing.
CNN did. They were
None.
in and out. CNN did.
None.
MSNBC. I know MSNBC on Friday did Reverend Al Sharpton's you got it. And the Word Network showed it. And you could also go to Word Network, and then you could also go to all of the Chicago affiliates were showing it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were on YouTube, you could go in.
I was not. I was in the hotel, and I said, "Wait a minute, let me find out what station the service is on." And I didn't think to go to CNN. I stopped watching CNN a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they had it, and they would dart in and out. Because here's the other piece of it, man. If they just do nonstop coverage, they lose money. So
Yes,
the
they do.
question is, how much of our advertising dollars are we going to lose? I know that sounds really cynical. How much of our advertising dollars we're going to lose because we can't run or we're not going to run ads? And so that was something CNN did, MSNBC did. If it was, I know they definitely did Obama. As a matter of fact, MSNBC reran Obama's remarks Saturday. I think
I'm going to take it upon myself to go back and revisit some of the recordings on that because I would like to see some of it. Honest to God, I saw Hezekiah Walker on a news clip,
right?
And that was on. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I saw President Obama on a news clip. That was it.
Yeah, because let me say, man, Biden was tough to watch. Clinton was tough to watch. Now let me say this about Kamala Harris. She was within the time frame they gave her. But they're going after her now because she stood up and said, I told y'all that some of this was going to happen, right? And the right wing went crazy. Well, she did tell us that some of this was going to happen, right? She called it, so
right.
But Obama was good. I mean, a little long, but that's Obama, so he can get away with it.
I would watch Barack. I would watch Barack deliver a Jiffy peanut butter commercial because I know he brings such interesting comments and interludes to his speeching. Is the way he pronounces words, the way he's carefully, working with the audience that he has to work with. And I like that about that man. The man is so educated, it's frightening.
Well, and then here's the other thing. And some of the comments people were making was, what's it called? Affectation, right? So when Obama and Kamala Harris got up and said, look at them, they what's the word? Pandering, sounding like they black. Last time I checked, they were.
Right, correct. Because,
and you had a black church.
Right.
Come on, man.
Now, if they walk in that place with an encyclopedia in their hand, they're looking like, oh, look at them uppity niggas.
Right. All right, let me do this, man. I got
all right, love you all.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Love you, man.
All right. You're listening to Community Voice. The phone lines are open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
mesmerizing, sultry voice of Tony Braxton. All three live, performing together on one stage on New Edition Way Tour, Saturday, March 21st at Pfizer Forum. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster. Presented by the Black Promoters Collective. 106.5 FM. WNOV. The Voice. Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice. Do we have any angry callers out there?
Not till right now, sir.
Oh, okay. Can I get my phone back?
Where's your phone?
I don't know, man. They took my phone, man.
Who took your phone?
No, you remember what happened?
Yeah, I know it went out.
His phone went out. So I took that.
Oh,
So I'm waiting for it to come
man,
back.
get his phone back, man. Go get a
Waiting for it to come back
payphone.
from the manufacturer.
Get my phone. Where's my phone?
Where the phone at,
Where the
man?
phone at, mate? Anyway, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. My mama said, some folks can't do wrong right.
Yeah.
If you think this little incursion into Iran is not having global
It's
consequences,
crazy, man.
I went and filled up the car yesterday. $57.
Listen here, man.
$57 to fill up the car.
I'm looking at that gas price right there. It's $3.79.
Yeah.
And
People say that there are no things and we'll get through it. And here's the deal. Because these are not serious thinking people. What I mean by serious thinking people is the academics is always the numbers, y'all. It's always, thank you, Clarence Avant. It's always the numbers. Okay, so in his little claustrophobic way of thinking, we could do in Iran what we did in Venezuela, and people are saying, no, you cannot. The consequences, Venezuela can't block any oil transport routes. They didn't have a strong army. There was a whole lot of reasons why you could go into Venezuela and do what you did in Venezuela that you won't be able to do in Iran.
well, he's so talking about that this war he's looking at it to last.
Is it a
3 or
war?
4 weeks.
Because I'm
'Cause,
hearing
yeah,
from part
somebody-
of the
yeah.
people saying it ain't a
It ain't
war.
a war. But he's saying it's a war, and they saying it's not a war. And it's like, which one is it? And then you talking about you gonna send U.S. Navy ships to help escort those ships that's going through, but that they cut off the
Strait of Hormuz.
right. So now you talking about you gonna send Navy ships to escort.
Here's the little problem with that. That's not the oil. America does not get oil transported from the Persian Gulf.
It's to Russia, ain't it?
Russia's going to benefit. China is going to benefit. Okay. And like I said, some folks can't do wrong, right? The Russians are giving the Iranians intelligence on U.S. installations.
Yeah, right. So I heard that Russia gave information to Iranians
Yes. About American.
where the troops were, and
Yes.
everything. So and now I hear that China and Iran is linked up. That
Look,
China just gave them some missiles or
serious thinking folks. Now, the folks were a little bit more serious thinking during the Bush administration when they went into Iraq. But there were some other things going on because, as we know, Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11. 9/11 became a pretext to go into Iraq to basically control Iraqi oil, okay, and to benefit. I was trying to think it was it Brown Kellogg and Halliburton. Those people benefited. I don't see. This is crazy, man. I mean, and it's having impact. Prices were already going up. We're already dealing with what they were saying was stagnation, but this could lead us into a recession.
Man, did you see that guy on Fox News? I want to say it was Lindsey, but I'm gonna check again.
Lindsey Graham?
I think that was him. But he was saying he had a hat that said "Make Iraq Great Again." Make Iraq great.
All right.
And then he said make Cuba. He was talking about Cuba, and he's saying that, you know, man, that the United States is going in one by one, and they're cleaning up the world, and it's going to be profitable for us.
But here's the problem. Colin Powell was correct. If you break it, you own it. Yeah. So you can go in. You wiped out what you thought was the leadership, right? But what you didn't know, because of your lack of intelligence of what's going on there, and there's people who understand the region, people who know Iran, saying that the Iranian Guard, that group is so entrenched. These people are true believers.
Yeah,
and they're going to go down with the ship. And then once you do all of that, you break Iran, then what happens? It is madness. And so then when people are now, they're doing the whole thing. And this is where people this is how they would kind of line up on Jesus. They'd ask you this question, right? Here comes the question. So the question is, because they're talking about how much they're spending a day and that cost of war. So they're going to have to go back to Congress to get more money authorized in order to continue the war. And you already have people like Fetterman who say, well, it's great. Look, and everybody has to do this whole disclaimer. We're not saying that we're shedding any tears that you took out the Ayatollah. Okay, we got all of that. But at what price? Yeah. And then to add insult to injury, as they're bombing, this dude playing golf, and he don't care that people seeing him play golf.
He playing golf, but he had a problem talking about Obama, saying, well, you know, stuff going on, and Obama is not even in office. He's on, I wouldn't do that, and this and this and that, and here you are.
Here's the narrative. For 47 years, Iran has been a bad player. If it's been 47 years, that would also include 4 years under you.
Oh,
caller, welcome to the program.
Help us. Help us.
Hello.
Hello, what's happening? Yeah.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning. Well, said something that made a lot of sense. If it's 47 years, I guess he owned 4 of those bad years. Or 4 of those torturous years where we sat on the biting our fingernails. Iran is this and Iran is that. Listen, man, I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not worried about it. I mean, whatever happened, it happened. Me and you can't stop it. What we can do is we can make a lot of noise and make things worse. But because it's going to happen, whatever they're going to do. Now, what I want to see play out is I honestly want to see these guys get through real quick and get out of there. Because if they put boots on the ground over there, Iran ain't got a chance, man. Iran ain't got how many millions of people they got? That's like a little island.
Iran has 92 million people.
Okay.
Iran is different than Iraq. Iran has, let's just talk about the topography. They have mountains.
Okay.
Right? Iraq was a desert. This different kind of warfare. They're entrenched people there, and they have various militia groups who are supportive of the government.
Well,
it would be a bloodbath if you put you put American troops in harm's way for a war that no one seems to know why we're even fighting the war. Because the reasons change every day.
Hey, brother, we fighting the war to keep Israel white, to keep the status quo, man. You can't let those people dominate that, because if they dominate, that's like letting Africa come in there and dominate it. It changed the face of religion in 50 years, in 25 years. It changed the face of the Pope. You understand that? You cannot change. Well, Israel don't have nothing to offer besides what's
No.
They ain't even got
So
cobalt.
do you understand? Do you understand,
I mean, they ain't got
Meech,
oil over there.
Meech,
Yeah.
do you understand why is America in Iran? Why is America bombing Iran?
Because of the simple fact they oppose the threat to Israel. Okay?
They've been opposing the threat to Israel for 47 years, if I'm hearing the narrative.
And guess what?
And by the way, Israel is really driving this bus, which should be frightening to us, that we're getting into a foreign entanglement based on what was happening with Israel. For example, he got upset with the European Union and England for not offering support, and they were like, you didn't come to us in advance. You decided to do something, thought we were going to fall in line.
Already, though. The Israelites done already took them over, man. That ain't no Christian. Hey, man, look here. The Muslims has done took that over. They radical over there.
It got nothing to do with religion, other than it becomes one of those things.
To do with religion. Because if you conquer Israel, then you can say
they ain't trying to conquer Israel.
And you don't want to hear this, do you?
No,
man?
I don't, because it's not based in fact.
Christian for real. Why you talking all that Black Baptist stuff?
Okay, well you could say all of that, but it ain't based in fact.
It is based in fact.
It's not based in fact.
That you're supporting a regime that want to knock out where your Christian roots believe in, come from.
I didn't know it had anything. Right? I didn't. So that's another reason they're there to defend my Christianity.
No, you know your Christianity. Listen to this, man. I said it. I'll say it one more time, real slow for you. The reason why America must and always have, and even Europe protected Israel, is because of the face of the people. If you change that, you can kiss the Pope goodbye in 25, 30 years. Won't be no. They'll be their heads will be wrapped up. They might be even Sharia. I don't know. But listen, this is what you must protect, because Israel ain't got no oil, man. They got, like I said, manganese. They got some other things what they doing.
Israel does have nuclear devices.
You changing the subject, man. You going?
Well, I'm just
war.
saying.
I'm telling you the reason why they're protecting it. We had to build Israel. And first of all, most of those Jews that were killed over there in Germany didn't even go back to Israel.
They ain't got nothing to do with it.
Right. Well,
the point is, can you tell me why America is currently bombing Iran?
Because of the simple fact they oppose a threat to the white structure, the Zionist structure that's there in Israel. Okay? And guess what? I have no problem.
So what threat are they posing to America?
The Christian faith that we have here. See, let me explain something to you.
Wait a minute.
You change the faith
whoa. The Christian faith. So Iran is threatening Christianity in America?
The base of Christianity would be Israel, right?
No.
Where's the base of Christianity located?
It depends. If you're Catholic, it's in Rome.
Before 300 AD, where's the root of it at?
Man, you that ain't got nothing to do with why they're there today.
The question. This is why you don't want to have a sit down with me, because I'm asking you straight questions and you giving me some drag.
Okay, well I appreciate you, man. Let me get the next caller. Appreciate you.
Yeah, run.
Right, I'm run right to the next caller.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Caller, welcome to the program.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're right, Keith. Iran is no Iraq. I told somebody years ago. And also,
Venezuela or Cuba.
And I've been told too that some people who were leading this invading Iran, they were tying it to the Bible about you're a pastor and Revelations or something, and that's why they said the real reason we're in there, because we're trying to because he's got who's the guy that. The pastor the minister who's out of Arkansas, who's I guess he's the ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee.
Huckabee, his daughter's governor of Arkansas.
Yeah, but he said a lot that the religious right is pushing lot of this because they're convinced this is God is going to be on our side because of the revelations or something. But when I look at it, they said everything starts in the Middle East. But they said they're saying everything's going to be in the Middle East, the end of the world, and everything. So they were trying to usher it in. They're just saying God's will or something like that. That's why somebody was saying we're in that's why they're doing their thing with Iran. But I said it doesn't have anything to do with us. When you look at it, they were talking about May God, and they were talking about some other things. And have you heard that when they were talking about Russia and China being in the?
Look, back in the 80s, they would talk about during the Cold War how I guess there's a reference in Revelations, and I don't know if it was a bear, but they were saying that's what Russia was during the Cold War. Okay, there are a lot of people who are really into the whole end time piece, right? That right. And that it starts in Israel. Well, this wasn't Israel being attacked. And look, there's still people out there who question even the legitimacy of Israel. That's a different discussion. Okay. Here's the other thing. We're talking about what's going on in Iran. Did you see what they did in Gaza? And this is where the Israelis' mindset is. This is what they want to do in Iran. And the fact is they're using American armaments and American firepower to take out Iran. And then it gets even more complicated. Remember, I said these people are not serious thinkers. So there is a divide in Islam in the Middle East, the Shia and the Sunnis. Yeah. Iran is Shia. Saudi Arabia is Sunni. Saudi Arabia and Iran have had conflict because it's the Persians. This goes back thousands of years. As a matter of fact, yesterday.
That's what I told somebody. I said,
we talked about. I'm sorry.
And I said, Iran was Persia in the Bible.
Still is. They're still Persian. They're Asian. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're not a country like Iraq. They've been around for thousands of years. And I don't think
Iraq is kind of where they think Abraham came from originally. From that part of Mesopotamia, he might have come from Iraq, part of Iran. That's the thing that's always like these people had migrated. That would be migrating west. So Abraham was in Mesopotamia, and then he moved in. And then by the time his son Joseph gets to Egypt, then he goes and he's in Egypt. And then they go back and they bury him. But I'm just saying that the roots of this, there are people who always say symbolically Ishmael, Hagar's son, Abraham's oldest, that Arabs are descendants of Ishmael.
That's correct. That's what I've been told.
Right.
That's what I've been told. But I've been told also that a lot of the religious, I wouldn't call them fanatics, but they said everything is in the Middle East, and that's why we're fighting wars, and that's what we're doing in Iraq, because they have some of these people that are telling them you got to do something. And they said something in the Bible, something about if you curse Israel, I will curse you, or something like that.
There's a danger in us using the Bible to dictate foreign policy. There's a real danger in that. I mean, that, like I'm saying, these are not serious people. These consequences, and here's why. Because cash rules everything around me. The reason why the Middle East is so important is because of oil and oil reserves.
Right.
If
we don't get I was told we don't get our oil from there. We get our oil from. He said we were self energy efficient, or something like that. Mm-hmm. He said we were getting our oil, and as far as the Venezuelan oil, they said that is that's thick oil. It's got to be recalibrated or whatever, refined or something like that.
Yeah,
kind of like the oil that comes out of Canada with the tar sands. That is not very good oil at all. The kind of oil like where I live, the kind of oil that you want is the Texas grade sweet oil. That's the best oil around.
But I think the Venezuelan oil are going to refineries in America that were
Right.
built to deal with that grade of crude. So yes, and here's the other thing. During COVID and the inflation that came, the cost of gas had gone up. I think they depleted our oil reserve by 40% in order to bring down the prices of oil during, I would say economic, but obviously we're dealing with inflation and all these other things. So that oil reserve, because they were saying America, this is why you're hearing Trump say drill, baby, drill in places they shouldn't be drilling, because they want America to be oil sufficient. Here's something else. And folks, we need to pay attention. You know, he's done executive orders to get rid of, well, one, they let the tax credits you got for buying electric cars lapse. That was part of the great, beautiful bill. They have also shut down any kind of real development of solar power in America because they want people to be petroleum dependent. Do you know why China is not going to have a real problem when it comes to this oil and maybe a shortage of oil? Is one, they're glutting their oil, right? And they're going to solar. They're using renewable energy.
They're the biggest solar. They're big,
exactly
tons of solar panels.
Exactly.
And my friend, he just purchased a 38 acres in rural Colorado, and I said, "How are you going to take care of your thing?" And he says, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go totally off the grid," because his thinking is that some guy was saying that the way wars are going to be fought now, they're not going to be fought like dropping bombs all over the place. What you're going to do is you're going to knock out people's infrastructure. That's why they're going out there like they did in Ukraine with the everything else like that, knocking out the infrastructure, because you knock out people's infrastructure with their electricity and everything, what is going to happen? I mean, where we live, it's cold in the wintertime. Where you guys, it's cold in the wintertime. And you could debate. And then he said another thing, too. Some guy says, this is not very good for the U.S. because he says, we have sent a lot of our munitions to Ukraine. We send a lot of our munitions to Israel too. We send them.
Guess
some other
who they're talking
too.
to deal with drone defense? Ukraine, right? They're talking to Ukraine because at one point, because Russia was getting their drones from Iran, and so the Ukraine has come up with a defense mechanism to deal with the drones. Guess who the Americans and it's just it's like, wow, just talking about dissing people and being so disrespectful and being so condescending. You know, I was talking about how, Trump was upset with Stammer in England because he didn't initially allow America to use their bases. And they're kind of going, well, a couple of things. One, we try not to get dragged into this nonsense. And two, you didn't even give us the courtesy of saying that this was going to happen. You just assumed we were going to fall in place. Now, you've been dissing the EU. You've been dissing NATO, right? I'm talking about Trump, just dissing them. But my mama used to say, you're going to need me before I need you. And that's kind of where they are right now. And no matter what they do, at some point, if you're going to control Iran, you're going to need to put troops on the ground. Yeah, you can bomb them. You can bomb them into next year, but the people are still there.
You know that's not going to be good at all. Because this is not Iraq. This is not Syria.
No.
This is Iran. You're right next door to who are they? Afghanistan, which is right next door, I guess, to Pakistan. And then the Pakistans, I was told that they went and they overthrew they went in there. There's some kind of charge at the American embassy. That's my understanding. So you're making all these enemies. Then you have the Muslims. And but I'm just saying, you have 90 million people, and these people are, of course, seems like some of these are like the country. When the Shah was in, they were having issues. He was a dictator. Now they have this other person. He's
Thank you for
dictator.
that. Thank you for that. The reason why Iranians hate Americans so much is because of the Shah of Iran and his brutal regime. That's what elicited the Islamic Revolution. Ayatollah Khamenei was in exile, but
Right.
the arrogance and the Secret Service in Iran was Savak. They were trained by the CIA how to torture people. No. When you hear death to America, that's because of a history. As a matter of fact, there was an election back in the 50s that America did not agree with the guy who was elected. So there was a coup, and they installed the Shah of Iran. So, yeah,
So
and then
somebody
people
was
they had to make it the evil of two lessers. Are we better off now? They found out that in terms of their material existence, it's been tough with this theocratic. The mullahs are running the country. There's a problem when religion is running the country. I'm just putting it out there because they push back against modernity, certainly women's rights, all those things that we take. And look, no matter what America bomb, Iraq is not going to be a democracy tomorrow. And the hypocrisy of this whole idea that Iraq being a democracy is this current leadership is doing everything they can to undermine democracy in America. That ain't lost on
he
me.
said the most important thing is the munitions. He says it takes time to be making weapons of war and everything. And he said they're spending a lot of things on these knocking out all these things coming over from Iran. I mean, you have to make them, and then it takes time. The most important thing, it takes time to make them anyway. And he said, they just got themselves in such a mess.
And wait a minute, you talking about the munitions? He wants to,
yeah.
And there's talk of him invoking the War Powers Act. I would think that then in order for you to invoke the War Powers Act, we would have to be at war. And you're saying we're not at war. Somebody help me understand why we're there. Appreciate you, man. I'm up on the break. Hey, y'all listening to you listening to Community Voice. Phone lines open 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. We good? We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
AURN News.
Gas prices are climbing sharply following the U.S. attack on Iran under President Donald Trump's Operation Epic Fury. According to AAA, the national average price for regular gas is now $3.25 a gallon. Just a week ago, the average was $2.98. The spike is drawing attention inside the Trump White House. Politico reports that President Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, has told advisors to bring ideas to the Oval Office to lower gasoline prices. The report cites energy industry executives familiar with those conversations. Last year at this time, the national average price for a gallon of gas was about $3.10 a gallon. With tensions in the Middle East rising, analysts say energy markets are watching closely to see whether the conflict will continue to push prices even higher. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
From TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson with your Storm Team forecast. Mostly sunny and mild for our Monday as temperatures climb into the upper 60s and might even make a run towards 70 in a few spots. We'll toss in some more cloud cover tonight as lows fall into the upper 30s. A bit of some patchy fog first thing Tuesday. Then we look for late day showers and even a few thunderstorms. Temperatures only topping out in the mid 40s. That rain may transition to a bit of a wintry mix first thing Wednesday. It'll be windy.
Breakfast.
Yeah, man. When Debo did that close up, we could see all the lint in your cap.
Yeah,
man.
see, I was trying to explain these great balls of fire that's on my hat.
Y'all remember back in the day when they had the black light to see if you
Yeah,
did you see all the lint on your outfit when you walk through that black light?
Yeah, that light
that
on you.
suit like that whole man. You might want to take that suit to the cleaners, man. Caller, welcome to the program.
Been rolling in mothballs.
Oh yeah, good morning. First of all, what I wanted to say is we should not be involved in nobody else's war. Why should black people or anybody have to be in a war? This is the same president who said people in the military are suckers and losers. So now they supposed to die for you? Absolutely not. We're also talking about Israel, who treats the United States like welfare. And we're going to come fight for you? But I feel like this for the people who feel we should be at war and all this because Christianity, you're more than welcome to go get you a Spirit ticket, fly on over there to Israel, and be on the front line with big boots, an AR-15, and a hat with a champagne glass on the top. And you can fight all you want. But it's mighty funny. You're not willing to go. And then we're not thinking about the soldiers who come back with PTSD issues, mental issues, how these soldiers are treated. And we're going to go fight a white man's war? Matter of fact, I'll pay for your ticket since you feel black people need to go over there and fight. But I bet you ain't trying to go over there and fight.
Hey, Al, do you think Spirit has a plane that can fly that far?
No.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they can run to Canada or something, and then they can get on over to Israel.
Do
And
Air
then
Canada, because if it's Spirit, I don't know if they can make it that far.
And then the thing is, if I'm not mistaken, in Israel, every kid that's born gets money put in an account until they're 18 years old. So if they want to get an education, start a business, they got universal health care. And Israel is a home where all the pedophiles run when they flee the United States. Okay? So I don't understand why anybody want to say, yeah, we should go fight. Fight for what? Let them go fight. And you can go fight too since you feel it's okay. And then we forget about all the people who have died because of religion and in the name of Christianity. And if I'm not mistaken, you wasn't speaking all this when you wasn't saved, but now you done got close to Christ. Now you want to throw rice. Happy Monday.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'll say it again. We cannot use the Bible to kind of inform our foreign policy. It's just not good in terms of maybe the ethics, but even then that's difficult, because what constitutes a just war? What is a war? I mean, you now again, because obviously we're here, we're not getting the Iranian side of this, right? And we no longer have Al Jazeera available where we're able to kind of get that side of it. I can remember when Al Jazeera was still around, we got the plight of the Palestinian people. The story that Israel never wanted to get out was how the people were suffering under the apartheid there in Israel, right? So, and I don't know if you can use religion to justify it. I was listening a little bit yesterday to Donnie Swagger. He does this behind the songs, and he was talking about the battle hymn of the Republic. And he reluctantly said, the South was wrong. Really? Really? And I think he thought he had made such a statement, but are you wrong in your racism? Just because you in Louisiana, I know that's in the South, but look, you had people who were against slavery, but they were still white supremacists. Not lose sight of that little thing. It wasn't that Abraham Lincoln ever looked at African people as being equal to European people. He didn't. But there was something bigger going on in his mind, making sure that they preserved the Union. And I don't know if y'all noticed a little bit about history. They had something in New York called the draft riots. And that was because you had Irishmen in New York who could not see themselves fighting to free black people, right? Because you have a draft, conscription, that's the word, that people go in. And Rhino just showed me something now where they're, again, making it mandatory for people to do selective service. History is like, timing is everything. And I just happened to graduate in 1975. 1975 was the first year that 18-year-olds did not have a mandatory registration for the draft. The last class was 74. In 1975, they basically ended the draft. And then under Ronald Reagan, they reinstituted people signing up for selective service. If you want financial aid, I think you have to sign up for selective service. I don't know if they're still enforcing that. No. So there were changes there, but that was the fear that we didn't know how long Vietnam was going to last. By 1975, we were out. But like I said, the class of 74 was the last class that had to register for the draft until it was reinstituted by Ronald Reagan in the 80s.
Now, what I'm having a hard time with is how they making it mandatory now. Well, first of all, why would that even be something on the table if you didn't think that this war was going to go longer than what you previously thought?
Right.
So you actually stood up before the people before this war started and said that people are going to die, that this is just part of war.
It is.
Which I
How do you
agree,
have a war and people don't die?
which I agree. However, put your son out there, put your family members out there, and then after you put your family members out there, say that same exact thing.
Right. And people, and I know I have Vietnam era veterans who are listening to this program, can tell you they had to go to a lottery system because the disproportionate number of people who were being drafted were poor, black, and brown. Because if I was in college, I get deferments. Didn't Trump get something like 5 deferments? And finally,
for bone spurs
that
he didn't have.
serve. And I would think, but again, I'm attributing a certain level of humanity and human empathy to a person who I don't see any, and decide I would be, if I'm going to put troops in harm's way, and I never served, and I avoid service, I would be a little circumspect in saying, here's what I think I should look at it differently. Obama looked at it differently because Obama never served in the military. George W. Bush, I guess he was in the military. It was like the Air National Guard, but he didn't see any duty in Vietnam.
Right.
Okay. And here's something else. Got to pay attention. Got to pay attention. Have anybody seen J.D. Vance?
Nope.
Has anybody seen J.D. Vance?
Not at all.
And you know why you haven't seen J.D. Vance?
Why?
Because J.D. Vance was against them bombing Iran. Because if with all you have to say, and I'm ascribing things, and maybe he'll come out this week, I'm ascribing things to him that may or may not be accurate, but he served in the military. I think he has an understanding of war, and he knows how unpopular this is, and he's still looking at his 2028 run. So yeah, he don't want to be brushed by the wings of this butterfly. And I thought it was interesting. We've seen Hesse, we've seen everybody come out, but you haven't seen J.D. Vance. Now, that's not to say maybe they're just saving him. I heard this joke, though. And this has kind of got nothing to do with anything. So there is an AAU coach, and they're playing in a tournament, and he puts 10 players on the floor to start the game.
You put 10 players on the court?
And so the referees, they didn't give him a tech, but said, "Coach, too many players on the floor." And he turned to the parents and said, "See, I told you everybody couldn't start."
Hey, that's smart. That's smart because they know you get the parents up off you.
Right. I told you everybody couldn't start because every parent believed their son should be starting, right? Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, Keith, what's happening, man?
What up, George?
Hey, I just wanted to call in because I heard you mention this last week, and I'm going to stick to that like you said. I just don't understand how any of us, and I'm not talking about us that voted for Harris and voted for Obama. I'm talking about people that voted for this liar in chief. That how could anything that comes out of his mouth that you would suspect to challenge anything that comes out of his mouth, because everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie, everything. And even if he told us the truth, we wouldn't believe it because he lied so damn much. Keith, you said you were a recruiter for colleges, right?
Yep.
Did you get paid for that, or was it just you got paid for that, right?
Yeah, after I graduated, I worked a year.
So was it like a kind of commission?
No.
Like, or you just got an hourly thing?
Yeah, I was just on salary.
Oh, okay. Because when my son was in Bayview, he was in the ROTC, you know, and when he had graduated, he was planning on going into the military. And I basically talked him out of it, and was this recruiter kept calling our house, and me and the dude was going back and forth. Don't call my house no more. I think this was when George Bush was president, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
When the war got started over this weapons of mass destruction was a damn lie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I'm not. I mean, at the end of the day, that was his decision if he wanted to or not. But I wasn't going to sacrifice my son's life for this country for something that was a big lie. And my brother, I don't know if you ever met my brother. I think you met Keith before. I don't know if you ever met my brother Gary before, but my brother Gary did 22 years in the military. And I think you were talking to somebody about this earlier. Fighting in the desert is a big difference when you fighting in mountains and stuff. He said, Greg, because, you know, they had all those buildings over there and they didn't never know where they were hiding and all that kind of stuff like that. He said that was probably one of the scariest parts of being in the Army with military at that time. Because he said you didn't know where them people was at. And so, you know, for you always tell me, George, some people ain't going to change their mind. And I just made up my mind, Keith, that I'm going to have to concede to you about that. It's just some people that are just ignorant. Because I heard my brother earlier when he called in, and no matter what this man does, Keith, it's just like he finds an excuse for him. And this man had a doctor that his daddy had enough pull and power to keep him out of the military. I Googled this. Any Trump ever served in the military, and the only one they gave me was his brother. Not his daddy, not his granddaddy, none of his kids.
And his brother ended up becoming an alcoholic. So how much?
I think that might have been from the pressure of his dad not accepting. Who knows, you know?
Yeah, but I'm sure, you know, his military service, and I'm thinking it would have been during either Korea or the Vietnam War, right?
One of those two. But Keith, for this man to be so nonchalant about the lives of people, I think Keith, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I think he enjoys people dying and killing people. I think he's getting off on this, Keith. And one of the things I think that, remember when he first got in office and he put those tariffs and how the stock market was, how bad it was at first?
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, don't care about the stock market. But as soon as it started coming around, he was bragging about it, right? You see what it's been doing the last couple of days and with oil prices. So I don't know what to say about this guy no more. I'm just so tired of this man. I'm tired of his administration, because I'm watching this program right now when the people saying that they trust the military officers and stuff like that. Half of them is just licking his boots. I don't think they care. They just that's the kindest part I can say about it. And then this is the last part I'm gonna say. Don't ever, any of y'all on 27th and Capitol Drive and across the street, don't never buy no gas. They jacking us up so high. Every time I roll past that filling station, I see how high that gas is. They one of the highest gas stations in the city of Milwaukee.
All right.
So don't y'all buy no gas from across. None of y'all. Take y'all money someplace else.
And gas stations don't make money from gas.
Right.
They make their money from
Blunt right.
Yep.
I wouldn't buy none from them.
Yeah. Well, the one I went to was $3.50 59.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. This gas.
And I use mid grades.
So man, and that's why I'm glad I'm not driving my Benz right now, because putting 97 in is crazy.
Yeah, because that's a high performance engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you spending $1 million to get $5 worth of gas.
Yep. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. This is Brother Kwaku. How y'all doing today?
What up, Kwaku?
Hey, not too much. I was just listening, and I was just thinking, man, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to use the military to pay for school.
Yeah.
And I joined the Marines at 17.
Okay.
But you can't sign the papers yourself. You need an adult signature. So this is July of 1990. Where actually it's about June of 1990. My mom said, "Hey, I'm not signing for you." And I was like, "Mom, we ain't been in war since Vietnam. At least, a known conflict." And long story short, my cousin was in the military telling me all he was doing. But then come January of 91, and that's the first Bush.
Yep.
And that's when the war broke out.
Desert Storm.
And I saw, that's it. And when I saw all of the brothers that came back from there, it scared me half to death, because they weren't the same. And I heard all of the stories from Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And what hurt me was not that they came back like that, but it was the lack of care that their country gave them. Yeah. And it reminded me of when Ali and all of them had went away just for the Olympics, and then they came back and said, "Oh, we're treated this way." But then when you look at the men in the military, specifically my granddaddy's generation from WW2, when they went to fight, and then they came back and said, "Man, this country won't even fight for me," which gave Ali that venom to say, "I'm not going to Vietnam." He said, "These Viet Cong ain't did anything for me." And to some of the callers earlier, I think we have to recognize that when we go to war nowadays, it's never for anything righteous. Like with WW2, they can say, we're fighting against Hitler and this oppression that could be coming worldwide with this dictator that was ruthless. But we know now that wartime is boom time. And so when there's no war going on, there's a lot of money that's not being made. So when we talk about why people would go in, it is the ultimate okie doke. They keep us in desperate situations where the military seems like a great option, because they say, "Oh, you can travel the world, you can learn these skills." The only thing is, when at their whim, and I think Ryder just said it before, Trump said it so nonchalant. Yeah, we're going to lose some people. And when you have individuals who don't really care like that, you say, how can I really pour my heart out for a country that I know that doesn't care for me? And this is the weirdest part. As a psychologist, I get to do assessments with veterans. And what I recognize, it didn't matter if they were black or white, young or old, they all had the same stories against the VA, that the VA was doing the best they could, but they were overwhelmed, under-resourced, unable to take care of them. And even more so for our women in there. Every lady that I ever worked with through the assessment VA program, military sexual trauma. We always talk about PTSD with all of the men and women, but very rarely, especially we talk about Women's History Month, do we talk about the military sexual trauma that goes on. And because of the stripes, stars, and bars and hierarchy, a lot of those things aren't even recognized. So when we started saying, "Hey, we're going to war," what we have to recognize, in my humble opinion, is we're not going to war for righteous causes. Now, it's really just to embolden the rich because they're playing real life game chess, and they get off on it, and it increases their pocketbooks tremendously.
And you know what, Brother Kwaku, one of the things that I discovered during the Gulf War was not the Gulf War, but the last Iraqi war, was that they called up a lot of National Guard troops to go and serve. As a matter of fact, those 6 service people were all National Guard. One of the things is you do not get the same VA benefits as a reservist or regular Army, right? So those folks and the National Guard, they deploy these troops, they come back, but they don't get the same benefits as regular Army. And one of the benefits the regular Army gets is the VA.
Yeah, and the sad part about it is, you say National Guard, they shouldn't even be over there in the first place. Their whole business is to be on the national front. Now, I do know for some of the reservists that I work with, once they've been deployed, certain benefits would be activated for them. That
because they're
normally
considered
be.
Army.
Yeah.
They're different status than the National Guard.
Okay, you're talking about just the National Guard,
right?
yeah.
But the reservists, if the reservists are called up, yeah, because they're still considered, like federal military, where National Guards are state.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that until, but they're dealing with the same trauma that regular Army and reservists are dealing with, but they don't necessarily get the same benefits when they come back from a war zone.
And I'll say this and shut up so you can go on. But when we looked at, we lose 20 we lose 20 veterans a day to suicide. We lose more veterans by their own hands once they come back than we did in these wars in which they participated in. And the fact that, go ahead.
And I was going to say this because when you talk about your granddad, we have so sanitized World War II, right? I mean, we just sanitize it. It's like, it was the big one, the greatest generation, WW2. Yeah. But these men came back severely traumatized, but they came from a generation where they just internalized it. Yeah. Where during Vietnam, people became more expressive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was, because you go back to the bonus marches of World War I. That's when the first thing that they did under the Social Security Act, most people don't know, was they created a fund for veterans. Yeah. That was the first thing they did. And then the elderly, right? But they dealt with the veterans first. But you had these guys, and then you would see, and then when you go back and actually do an examination of World War II and understand that 50% of the 50% of the casualties was because of poor decisions made by leadership.
Wow.
On both sides.
Wow.
And so to your point, this is the thing, because back then they would call it combat fatigue or yellow fever. Mm-hmm. But when they looked up on the stats, and you talk about WW2, only 30% of the soldiers was actually fighting, was pulling their triggers. The other people were out there just trying to survive.
Right. Wow.
And so when you look at that, you say, hey, these people who are perfectly trained, and the U.S. does a wonderful job of training soldiers. But once you get out there, it's something different that happens. And that's why you said J.D. Vance understands that in a little bit better way than some of the other people who have never served before. Because once you understand the price that goes through there, you say, oh, this is something different. And when you look at all of the stuff that we do for prisons now, like with recidivation, that actually started with the military, because those men were having such a hard time reintegrating back into society. They was like, you can't just go from war back to being a civilian.
I had
a
coworker, my best friend, and he served in Vietnam, Marine. And he was talking, and we had some folks there who were Vietnamese. And he said, Keith, this is a trigger, right?
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I mean, we don't have a sense of it. And the fact that they so trivialize war, they're doing like this whole commercial that they put out there where it's like a video game. It's not a video game. People are losing their lives.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you say video games, because you know what? These video games like Call of Duty and things of that nature, they use that as VR simulation to get people ready, to desensitize you from killing, to get you ready for it. Yeah. And so when we started to look at what our government does, it's such a horrific job of saying, how do we care for our people and get our people in the right positions to be able to correspond to life once they come in. And you think about this, and I know I say this, shut up, but I'm gonna say this one, and I'm really gonna get off. And on July 4th of this year, it's gonna be the country's 250th anniversary. And you know what they're gonna say? We love our veterans. We salute our veterans. And you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna have the biggest parade, and then they're gonna have the biggest fireworks. And every veteran I know that's been in combat, they hate fireworks and don't want to be anywhere near it, because it's, to your point with your friend, it's a trigger.
It's a trigger. Oh,
it's just
wait a minute. And because it's our 250th anniversary as a country, of course, we're going to have a UFC match
fighting
at the White House.
White House.
Help me, Black Jesus. All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Okay. One love.
All right, man. Peace. You listen to Community Voice. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Community Voice. Caller? No? Oh, okay. Just a few minutes left. I don't know why we sleeping on the Badgers this year.
Good, man.
Oh my God, man! I wonder what seed they're going. Well, let's see what they do in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean that's my only thing, man. During the season, Badgers do pretty good. Even sometimes in the Big Ten tournament, they do pretty good. When they get to March Madness, it's downhill because they playing some real deal talent.
Yeah. Well, I think he's upgraded the talent. Now, hopefully Winters gets back. He had a bad ankle sprain. But he'll get back. But they're good. They really, I mean, they beat Michigan. They beat did they do Illinois?
The fight.
Yeah, and they beat Michigan. They beat Purdue at Purdue. So yeah, let's not sleep on it. Man, it was tough yesterday to watch South Carolina. The women, they lost to Texas, but Texas had an easier game Saturday against Ole Miss. South Carolina had LSU. That game came down to the last minute. It's like a 5-point difference. I just think they didn't have anything left. And, man, Texas jumped on South Carolina. They was like 14-0. So I just think they didn't have any legs left. Just caught up with them. That happens. We'll see. It'll be a number 1 seed. Shout out to the Marquette Golden Eagles. Big upset over UConn. To the point that Hurley got mad and he got ejected.
Yeah.
So
he actually bumped the ref.
Yeah. There is a book out there called The Miracle of St. Anthony's, which talks about the high school team that his dad coached in New Jersey. And the Hurleys are they're interesting folks.
So wait, is that Bobby Hurley? They just played with
No, Danny.
Okay, so Danny is Bobby's brother.
Right. Danny played at Seton Hall.
And Bobby played for Sacramento.
Bobby played for Duke.
No, I know, but he ended up going to
the
the league.
He got in a
played
car
for
accident,
Sacramento.
and that ended his career.
Yeah.
That was interesting, too, Duke point guards, because that happened to Jay Williams, too. He had a motor scooter accident, which pretty much ended his career. But, yeah, Dan Hurley, I think he's coaching at Arizona now. He's coaching.
Dan Hurley?
I think he's coaching. No, Dan Hurley is at UConn.
Oh, it's about Bobby.
Bobby is coaching. Caller, welcome to the pro. Oh, no. Okay. All right. Bro Powell caught me at church yesterday, and he always said, Keith, what we gonna do with the Bucks? I said, we. I said, man, I jumped off that bandwagon last year. What y'all gonna do?
Man, I'm going down with the ship.
Well, hey, man, do what you got to do, bro.
I'm going down with the ship.
Hey, man, ain't nothing like loyalty, bro.
But I do keep a life vest on the ship.
No, go down with it.
So you go down to the bottom.
Go down with it, bro. No, man, like I said, I jumped off that bandwagon. That was
now
I only got on the bandwagon because they won the championship in 21.
See, I've been on since I was born.
I know. I mean, and I've always kind of been. Now, compare me to being a Packer fan. It's like green and gold. Green and gold for life. But the Bucks, I when I was a kid, obviously they were because it was Kareem and Oscar, and then even in the early '80s,
Jack
with
Sidman,
Lanier,
Paul Pressey, Sidney Moncrief,
Marcus Johnson.
Marcus Johnson.
Yeah. I know you wasn't getting ready to say Fred Roberts.
Fred Roberts.
Did he wear number 20?
Yes. Brad Lohaus. Paul
Randy Brewer for a year.
Brewer, dude, he was trash.
Elton Lister.
Oh, my God. Elton Lister was
Terry Cummins.
Now, I used to like Terry Cummins.
Ricky Pierce.
He was.
Paul Presley.
Ricky Pierce reminded me of Alex English. But Ricky Pierce reminded me of that guy, Vinny, the microwave.
Oh, Vinny Johnson.
Yeah, because when Ricky Pierce got hot, man, Ricky Pierce was on. And then we ended up getting Adrian Dantley towards the end of his career, which was trash. But when Ricky Pierce got hot, and he came off the bench too.
AD's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but Moses Malone's in the Hall of Fame too.
He
right?
should be.
He should be, and he ended
He's one
up
of the
playing
most
for us.
dominant players ever.
He ended up
He
playing for us
partied
at the
here.
end of
He
his
did
career.
play,
Yeah,
but
he played here.
he used to hang out at Symphony's.
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah. Well, he was old then. He
Yeah.
was older when we got him.
You go up in there. I remember going up in the club like I'm with
Moses.
big dude with Moses,
Yeah.
454. Moses Malone. And again, hey y'all, Soul Power on Prime on the ABA.
I still haven't.
Dude.
I've seen it, but keep
Dude,
going.
it is good, man. When you sit up and
Sounds
think about
good.
Moses Malone was the first high school player
He sure was.
signed coming out of high school, and the year he was at Petersburg High School in Virginia, Converse used to do a yearbook, and in that yearbook it would have all the teams, all different levels who won championships, high school, college, and then the pros. Did we make it? I don't know if we made it, but I know Moses Malone was in it because he won a state championship at Petersburg when he was a senior. Then they signed him in the ABA, the first player signed out of high school.
So I got a question. So Hank Gathers was drafted by the Celtics.
No, Hank Gathers died.
Oh, he died before the draft.
Right.
So it was Len Bias that was drafted by
Lenny
the Celtics.
Bias, right? University of Maryland.
So he died after he was drafted.
He died the day after he was drafted.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, cocaine. Yeah, the Len Bias law. And the law says that if you deliver the drugs to the person dies, you held responsible.
So when Hank Gathers, it was just a heart murmur or something.
He had a bad heart. The family ended up suing.
Now his mother just passed.
Right. Paul Westhead was his coach, man. I saw them play LSU with Shaq. I don't know if Mahmoud was still there, but Shaq was still there. I mean, Shaq was exhausted.
Really?
Oh man, because Loyola Marymount was just come up jack threes, run jack threes. The whole thing was like, we're just gonna outscore you. We're just gonna outscore you. And Paul Westhead, he kind of had that offense when he was with the Lakers, and then he went to
So do you think that Hank and Lynn would have had a good NBA career?
I think that Boston would have been even more dominant with him and Larry Bird and that team that they had.
Dennis Johnson.
Larry Bird said he would have been able to play because he didn't have to carry because they
But
knew
don't
he
they
was
play the
deal.
same position?
Yeah, but it didn't matter because they moved Lenny. He was just like, dude, he was a game changer. Like it wasn't most people coming out. And think about it. Dude came out class of 86. He was playing in the ACC when Michael Jordan was playing. So, you could see this dude just had talent. It was just amazing, his talent level and how good Len Bias was. And he had the size and the whole thing. But then it also tells you, we found out something that his guy, I think it's Keith Trimble.
So they played with him?
No, the guy that had gotten the cocaine.
Oh.
That cocaine wasn't cut.
It was pure.
It was pure. And there have been rumors that, he was dibbling and dabbling. That wasn't the first time. I know that's the narrative that comes out. But they said that was pure. And his system just wasn't prepared for it. And bam. I mean, I remember when that happened. I mean, the day after the draft.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
So I think, too, because they were saying that cat from Chicago, Benji, that would have really been the first LeBron and the first Kobe.
Yeah. The problem with him, though,
he can shoot.
He could shoot
and jump.
But obviously that he had some other things that was going to make it tough for him to be. Well, I shouldn't speculate because people mature. But, he died on a humbug.
Right.
I mean, just over some stuff. And I know the dude that killed him, this dude has really turned his life around. He's an advocate for formerly incarcerated returning citizens. But he was like, dude, I didn't know him from Adam, but when dude came up and he was talking strong, I'm little.
Yeah.
All I had was that gun. And that's just how quickly dude turned. What happened downtown though?
At the venue? Which is crazy because they are actually charging this guy with homicide.
But his buddy had shot her. He took the gun and then shot her 4 times. Now this is based on the police report.
But
and then ran her over.
But think about it, man. You got it. And okay, true enough, it is overkill. It is overkill. Like tremendously overkill. But however, you got a person that's jumping out with she had a Uzi.
No.
It was a baby Uzi.
But his boy jumped out the car with the gun first.
No. On the video,
They
before
both
that happened. Yeah,
right.
she out walking with her. She got an Uzi in her hand. And then the people that was on the sidewalk that was from Ohio was like, she was pointing it as she was talking. She was pointing it, and I've seen it happen. You know, people, and
you know, we laugh at it. You know, when we watch those skits from Dave Chappelle when Keeping It Real goes bad. But man, you could be on something, but somebody else could be on something too. So, you know, it's kind of how we resolve. And unfortunately, this young lady's lost her life. You know, and for many of us, it's like, you know, it was just pointless, you know, so, but it's how we resolve conflict. And, you know, easier said than done when you're in the heat of the battle, you know, so. All right. So let me thank Debo. Thank you, man.
somebody just called from prison.
That means they're listening. Jermaine, thank you.
Yeah.
The good Lord willing, Creek Don't Rise. Hope to talk to everybody. Oh, and callers, we thank you. Good Lord willing, Creek Don't Rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.